Yeah. Washington also got rid of their quarterback. They definitely need one. Drake May. Last week we gave them Drake May as co-GMs. You want to flip it this week just to mix it up?
No. I think I think Drake May is QB2 now. I was a coin flip to me before. Now I'm coming down more on the Drake May side of things.
You did more film grinding.
A little bit, yeah. I also
or data diving.
A bit of both.
Yeah. What'd you find?
Not even. I mean, it's not like I discovered it, but the sack rate stuff for Jaden Daniels is just catastrophic. Like it's in the realm where all the quarterbacks stink. You know what I mean? It's not saying that if you have this, you are going to be bad. It's just saying that so far, pretty much all the bad quarterbacks do have that. So if you're going to have that catastrophic a sack rate, and there's another option that seems quite close, let's go with the other option. Not have that.
A sack rate thing, for those who don't know, there's a couple ways of looking at that, but the analytics community is hot on this right now.
Well, it appears to be a very quarterback-driven data point, right? Like you go back far enough, you tended to think of sacks and sack rates as offensive line things, right? But really, you shouldn't have, even if you just sort of looked at the data. Like, Dan Marino didn't go have the best sack rate for like 8 straight years because the Miami Dolphins had the best offensive line in the NFL for 8 straight years. They had a good one, but Dan Marino was like a sack-avoiding savant, right? With the fast, like the number one thing everyone would always say about Dan Marino, fastest release you've ever seen. It's like the gold standard. Look at you. You're like a Wayne's World segment, you know? Remember when he was there with all the Pepsi stuff and eating a Domino's pizza? And that's you right now.
You were making fun of me. Sorry, I interrupted. You were on a good run there, but you were making fun of me the other day for my new small PFF mug.
Yeah. I have an album. I don't have an album. I have a bunch of photographs on my phone that are just Steve holding normal-sized things and making them look tiny with his giant hands. That was the latest one that I thought was pretty funny. You were taking a sip out of this, what is effectively like a pint glass-sized thing, right? And you were making it look like a shot glass.
Yeah.
It's just It's pretty funny.
This is part of our new swag at the Combine. Sorry, I interrupted your flow. Yeah. Dan Marino, sack-avoiding
the number one thing people would always say about Dan Marino, fastest release you've ever seen, right? It's the gold standard. That's the release that everyone wants to try and get to, right? Which means that Dan Marino didn't get sacked a lot because when the pressure was coming, ball's gone. So it's a quarterback-driven data point, effectively. The more we look into it and the more you just study that.
And the best QBs of all time, you got Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. Like, all those guys are unbelievable at avoiding sacks. And they all did it kind of differently, right? Well, you wouldn't say Brady's got the Marino release, but you'd say he always knows where he's going with the ball. Mahomes, you would say his avoidance, he actually invites a lot of pressure, but he's unbelievable at avoiding the actual sack, the tackle itself. So all of the best quarterbacks of all time are incredible at this particular metric.
Yeah, and Peyton Manning was always really good at it. And Peyton Manning had this, like, just immediate, as soon as pressure arrived, he would immediately turn and dump it off to the running back, right? He knew where his check down was every single play instinctively. So as soon as pressure arrived, he's working the read down here, 1 to 2 to 3, pressure, turn, dump it off to the running back, no sack.
That isn't to say that quarterbacks who have a high sack rate, like Russell Wilson's always had a high sack rate in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers, for the majority of his career, has been
Rodgers
on
is the one that breaks it a little bit. I saw somebody put up a chart that cut it off at like 2017 or something. I'm like,
but you're talking about college.
So yeah, guys to come into the NFL since 2017, and it's like, well, that cuts off Aaron Rodgers, who's probably the best proponent of the always took more sacks than he should, but not got away with it, but made it work because he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time at everything else. Style of thought, style of play. Like Rodgers had for a while the lowest interception rate in NFL history, but had a reasonably high sack rate. So he's the one guy that, if you're digging into this from a data point of view, you need to have him in the chart because, like, he proves that does work, can work.
His college sack rate?
No. His sack rate generally. Like, Rodgers is always skewed on the end of takes more sacks but throws fewer interceptions because of it.
But we're viewing this data point's being viewed as, here we go down the rabbit holes. This data point's being viewed as, here's this stat. And it's viewed in two different ways. You could just do overall sack percentage, sacks as a percentage of dropbacks, or the one that we have as part of premium stats at PFF, as part of your PFF Plus package, pressure to sack ratio, which is really not worded perfectly, but it's basically the percentage of pressure dropbacks that become sacks. That's the number. Obviously, we don't have that number for Aaron Rodgers, which is why it's never shown. But it's used as a data point that says, look at all the college quarterbacks who had this number. Not that it correlates directly one-to-one to the NFL percentage, but when you look at the quarterbacks who are below a certain threshold of bad, none of those quarterbacks became good, whatever good looks like. Because Joe Burrow has had a high sack rate at the NFL level.
And it does tend to be pretty sticky as a college to NFL data point.
It is. It's sticky as a data point, but you're looking at it as look at the players who are better at this, look at the players who are worse at this, and you're pulling more of the good quarterbacks from those who are good at this particular metric or either of those metrics at the college level.
Right.
Again, I am not I joke with some who use this that they might be a one-issue voter, right? We don't want to be one-issue voters. It's not the only data point, but it is a significant one. And as I said, like Hansel in Zoolander, so hot right now. So hot right now. So we're going Drake May number 2 and Jaden Daniels number 3 is what we're saying. So there we go. Next 2 picks.
Patriots obviously also needing
Washington Commanders in the quarterback market. Of course, they'll take Drake May.
What is the Giants' biggest need?
Now let's define need. Would you call quarterback a need? Right? Need, as I always try to educate our listeners, I don't think need is like the most. It's not just the thing that's right in front of you right now. You can view needs as a 2-year proposition, and you could say a year from now, the Giants trying to get out of a Daniel Jones contract, a quarterback is a need. So you could parse it that way.
You could. Let me pitch you this as an idea.
I don't like it.
Huh?
I don't like it.
Okay.
Oh no, go ahead. Pitch.
I don't know if can we call him the late Mike Clay? Mike Clay used to work at PFF back
late
in the day.
Yeah.
So the late Mike Clay,
former PFFer,
now at ESPN. He does this thing that dates all the way back to his time at PFF, where he essentially posts a grid of team needs or team roster rankings, effectively broken down by position group, right? And he quantifies them on a scale of 0 to 4 or 5.
5, I think.
5. Yeah. The Chiefs are number 1 at quarterback with a 4.0, and they have Mahomes, so maybe it tops out at 4. Anyway, 0 to 4 or 5, that essentially says how strong is this position group. So we could use his thing and determine what your actual biggest need is.
Okay, but as I said, so yes, I'm good. I like the Mike Clay scale. Rest in peace, Mike. Currently of ESPN. The scale's fine, but as I said, we're not just taking the biggest need because it's like one of them is going to be safety, and it like pick 8 or something, and we're not just like
safety's not. So their biggest need.
I'm not saying the Chargers. I'm saying some team's going to have safety in the
Giants.
top 10.
We're under the Giants. Get with the program.
What did I say?
The Chargers.
Giants.
Their 2 biggest needs, according to young Michael, are cornerback and wide receiver.
Okay. Not offensive line, huh?
No.
Not tackle.
Not offensive line.
He's got tackle and interior offensive line.
No, he's just got them smushed together. Just offensive line.
Okay.
It's a need. I mean, the Giants, according to Mike, have the worst roster in the NFL and a need almost everywhere. So
fair.
It's,
All right, so you want to throw, obviously I would go receiver over. I like this corner class. I will say, I want to go on record here.
Oh, yeah?
Corner class being slept on.
Okay.
This cornerback class is being slept on. I believe that the top of this corner class is comparable to I think the corner class is going to be comparable to the receiver class.
What?
Yeah.
That's madness.
I think there's depth.
This receiver class is absurd.
We talk about this every year. We're going to be here for hours. Every year, the nature of scouting receiver makes us more inclined to like them.
This is not an every year I like the receiving class thing. This is.
Oh my gosh, I'm guilty too.
This receiving.
If we had the full research team, where's Ben Stockwell? Ben, stop doing what you're doing. Go back through the archives.
Yeah. This is different.
Find all the times that we said this is a deep receiver class.
It is.
It's whatever flavor you like.
But it's abnormally deep.
It's all about what you can do at receiver.
It's abnormally deep, even in the context of we generally like the receiving core, which has been very deep for a number of years. Like it is an all-timer.
No, I know. I agree it's really good. I think we're sleeping on the corner class. And I also think that the nature of the cornerback class, you kind of liked a lot of guys last year. But the nature of scouting the cornerback position is different. And you're more inclined to say, this guy can't do this and can't do that, and he's limited here and limited there. Whereas at receiver, you're more likely to say, he can do this. He could just be a deep threat. He could just be a slot guy. And that's acceptable. But at corner, we can't. And I think it's a good corner class. So anyway, at the top of the cornerback class, Quinyon Mitchell and Terrion Arnold and Kool-Aid and Nate Wiggins, Cooper DeJean, however you want to fit him in, I think they're good. I think it's a good class. Is it enough that I would overtake Rome Odunze at receiver? I think a more valuable position.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do that. If we're talking the two needs are corner and receiver, one of the three we would consider blue chip type of players. Rome Odunze still on the board. I would go receiver for the Giants through that lens. Now, whether Mike Clay is right or not, I mean, I still think offensive line is a need, and you have the top tackle on the board. That's what we did last week with Joe Alt. I think that's still in consideration, but I don't mind mixing it up just to do it.
Yeah, you've got to bear in mind that, a first-round corner in Deonte Banks last year, they're going to give him time as well, even though he didn't play particularly well as a rookie. It probably is a smaller need than it maybe looks on paper, depending on what you're using to populate that. I think you're right, though. The separator is, in any normal year, Rome Odunze might be the number one receiver in the draft, and they can get him at 6 as a third receiver in the draft. So I say take
Let's
him.
do it. Giants take Rome Odunze at 6. Eagles up on the clock.
Yeah.
What's their biggest need?
I mean, you could argue guard for them, given Cam Jurgens is going to replace Jason Kelsey at center. So somebody needs to play right guard for them. What else do they need? Now, can't be corner.
Can't say corner because you got the two old
corners
guys.
now.
Because you have starters.
D-line, they're set. Safety, they're okay. Linebacker?
They have Devin White,
Linebacker?
Nakobe Dean, and Devin White playing next to
It
each
doesn't
other.
feel great on paper. Running back, they're good. Wide receiver, they're good. Tight end, they're good.
We can't future-proof tackle like they would. They always need edge rushers.
So it's right guard or linebacker, right?
They don't need edge rushers on paper.
No, very much not.
Gosh, Dallas Turner's still on the board. People are going to be so mad about this.
This is what happens when you draft for need. This is why it's bad. We're making a point.
That's the point we're trying to make. That's the point we're trying to make. Look at all these edges and tackles. Right now, Dallas Turner, J.C. Latham, and Amarius Mims
are just sitting here.
All on the board.
Drafted for need. See?
Just as an example. Kool-Aid McKinstry, still on the board.
Somebody said stay true to needs. Punter is the pick.
They have a punting problem.
Apparently. I'm not
going to lie. I have not kept up with
$5 right now if you can even tell me who their punter is.
Can't. Can't. It's not my job. It's not my job. As I've said, on a Sunday afternoon while 8 games are happening, as soon as the punt team comes onto the field, my eyes divert to another screen.
You're just switching to something else.
Of course. I'm not going to, let's see how this punt goes. Hope he gets it inside the 5. No.
Yeah.
I'll find out after the commercial break.
Right.
Where the ball is.
So it's linebacker or right guard, where Tyler Steen is currently slated to start.
There's no linebackers or guards here.
Or there's J.C. Latham.
You want to move Latham to guard?
I mean, I don't want to do it, but as long as we keep needing guard teams and there aren't guards,
I kind of like it.
He's a guy I think you can plug in there.
Latham to guard for the Eagles.
There we go.
Love this. Oh, they're going to crush dudes up front. Yeah, this is great.
Pick number 23, the Minnesota Vikings, with their second pick having already drafted a quarterback.
We took J.C. Latham to the Eagles.
The Dallas Cowboys' biggest need on paper right now. You're going to love this. You know what it is?
What?
It's running back. Deuce Vaughn is their starting running back right now.
Well, he can handle the load.
Deuce Vaughn at 5'5" and 176 pounds is their workhorse.
Hater. Corner?
What? Did you say corner out loud in front of people?
Yeah, Jordan Lewis isn't really going to be. Deron Bland in the slot, and you need an outside corner.
You've got Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland,
and Jordan Lewis.
And you think corner is a bigger need than running back, where the top of the depth chart is a 5'5".
We're not filling the biggest need. I mean, you just.
That's exactly what.
No, we're filling needs.
The need is running back. They don't have any.
The need center or T.J. Bass, Brock Hoffman, guard center combination.
Right.
T.J. may have been a model guy, not lived up to the hype. Brock Hoffman, the center. Those are the needs. So we're going to drop down and pick Zach Frazier at center. Like that's what Jerry would do. He'd pull Travis Frederick out of the ether and be right about it.
Yes.
That's what he would do.
This is a rough team to be picking for needs, because their needs would force you into doing some crazy things.
For sure. Some good players left on the board. People are going to be real upset about this, Sam. Real upset. I would go center.
Okay. With Frazier?
Right?
Because we took JPJ already? Wow. Yeah, this is rough. What if they identify the next Travis Frederick?
What if they have? You don't think corner's a need there?
No. Certainly not when we're talking about the other positions that they don't have anybody in.
Yeah, they need a center. Let's go Zach Frazier. Got to scroll down a little bit for West Virginia center.
Quite a while.
Zach Frazier. Not too far, right?
30. Yeah, no, he's all right, actually.
Currently on the PFF draft board at what number?
31, 30.
Yeah, 31. Yeah, that's fine. First round player per Trevor.
For Trevor.